Today is Friday, February 10. I'm Pastor Anthony, and this is Wilderness Wanderings. Today our text comes from Deuteronomy 1. At that time I said to you, this is Moses speaking, you are too heavy a burden for me to carry alone. The Lord your God has increased your numbers so that today you are as numerous as the stars in the sky. May the Lord, the God of your ancestors, increase you 1,000 times and bless you as he has promised. But how can I bear your problems and your burdens and your disputes all by myself? Choose some wise, understanding, and respected men from each of your tribes, and I will set them over you. You answered me, what you propose to do is good. So I took the leading men of your tribes, wise and respected men, and appointed them to have authority over you, as commanders of thousands, of hundreds, of 50s, and of 10s, and as tribal officials. It's Deuteronomy 1, verses 9 through 15. This past year, I feel like we talked about deconstruction a lot. This past year, even these past few years, have been years of pruning, of tearing down, of being diminished. Some of you went through that. Some of you are perhaps still there. But some of you, as we turn the calendar into this new year, are beginning to enter a different head and heart space. One of reconstruction, rebuilding, a season of growth. The story for the Israelites at the opening of Deuteronomy is not so different. During their bondage in Egypt, they were in many ways a people diminished, torn down, discouraged. They lost sight of who they were and whose they were. It was a season of deconstruction, where the promises seemed to fail, and the presence of God seemed all but absent. But after God showed up in a big way in response to his people's distress and liberated them from their slavery, the seasons changed. Though they were in the desert, it was very much a season of reconstruction, of growth. Now, it didn't have to go that way. It could have been a season of drought, despair, and death. That is, after all, what the wilderness is all about. But through the surprising work of God to nourish and refresh with manna and water, to give direction and signs of presence through the cloud and fire, and to give structure, identity, and purpose through the covenant, law, and rituals, all of a sudden the season in the land of desolation became a surprising place of encounter, of formation, and yes, reconstruction. In the desert, Israel became a people, a nation with an identity and a purpose. How did that work? Well, it was actually many little moments of deconstruction and reconstruction that did it. Here in our text today is one of them. After crossing the Red Sea, Moses was the sole commander, official, and judge over the people. This institution, carried by one man, could not bear the weight of this people, though. And so this institution of rule by Moses alone broke down. How can I bear your problems and your burdens and your disputes all by myself? Moses asks. Was this a sign of failure? Not at all. It was a sign of blessing, actually. God was fulfilling his promise to multiply his people and to make them numerous. But with that increase came different opportunities, challenges, and needs. Before burning out completely, Moses received the wise intervention of his father-in-law Jethro to build something new, to give power away, and to entrust this people of God to the work of God in the people. So a new institution grows up, a new structure for the faith and life of the people. The new opportunity and challenge inherent in the pressing problems of their scale led to the deconstruction of one form of institution and leadership, and the birth of another, as more and more were invited to shoulder the responsibility of the blessing, along with its challenges. And you know what? God actually worked through both of those forms of institution, because he's not bound to one particular institutional manifestation of leadership or church or society or nation. So, as our own situation and culture changes around us, how might God be inviting us to deconstruct and reconstruct faithful and responsible forms of personal faith and devotion, of family life, of church and leadership out in the world, to support lives of faith and community in our culture today? It's a question worth pondering. And as you journey on, not back to Egypt, but forward toward the promised land, remember that you go with God's blessing. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you, wherever he may send you. May he guide you through the wilderness and protect you through the storm. May he bring you home rejoicing at the wonders he has shown you, and may he bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.